Ready, Sally?
Brimore, I've been standing here for 7.5 minutes.
Just checking.
Do you have the map?
Yeah, but it's basically blank. Did you read the case file?
I'm not sure yet. Did you read it?
Yeah, I'll read it on the way to the crime scene.
So, who do you think did it?
Sally, you know full well. We haven't even been to the crime scene.
Still, I reckon I've got it all.
It's a bird bath. Is that just rainwater? Looks a little weird.
The birds seem to like it.
They're even singing a little tune. Doot, doot, doot.
Please don't do that.
It's full of the same weird water that was in
Any
the
fish in there?
Not a single one. Although there is.
It's a cassette tape. Or it used to be.
It's a statue of some...
Playing a harp.
Playing a harp. Hang on a second. This...
Something tells me we're not gonna solve this just...
Let's come back later. It must do.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? Spooky. What do you think it's for?
I think it's just...
Is it working?
No.
It's a bandstand.
It's small for a band.
It's a one-man bandstand.
It's a stone carving.
I think it's supposed to... It's an egg.
What animal?
Hawk.
Right, a hawk bear lizard. It's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to...
It's not. It's an appropriate amount of quiet. That's a big lake.
It's kind
I
of...
think it's
Yeah, water with poison in it.
It's a garden, I think.
We could...
Ready when you are.
It's a little boat. It's the only...
What a comforting thought.
It's just an arch, like walking...
Too late. I tied the boat up to the mooring post. No.
Loving the confidence.
It's a path. We're walking.
The ground's moist.
I cannot believe how excited.
The ground's moist.
I cannot believe how excited. So, who...
We haven't even...
Still. Oh.
What?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Tangle.
Tower. Oh.
What?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Tangle.
Tower.
Little bird feeder.
How do you know they're for birds?
Should we...
Why would we not? It's a little melody. Do you think he'll start to move if we try to go inside?
No. I think he'll just sign up.
Don't think it's locked.
Oh, that means...
I'm pretty sure that's the rule, yeah. Let's head to the crime scene. It's at the top of the West Tower, I think.
Sally, check those plants for clues.
Is soil a clue?
Now, it's a...
There are weeds in there.
It's an aquarium?
Could be. Except more. A door.
Oh, what's behind
A
it?
room.
It's not locked.
Stairs.
Stairs?
This one has a big P.
That's...
How very P-ceptive.
A big...
Of course. Who doesn't hang a giant banner of their initial in the lobby of their mansion?
What is that?
I think it's a family tree. Richard Remington.
The one and only. Fiona Fellow. Dead center.
She's half fellow and half Remington.
Do you think she still lives here? Freya Fellow.
Murder victim.
She's barely related to the main family at all.
Flora Remington.
I think she's mentioned in our case file.
Flora Remington.
I think she's mentioned in our case file.
Richard.
The one and only. Primrose.
I always liked the name Primrose.
Do you think she still lives here?
Lord Remington.
He sounds important. Lady Remington.
I think I have one of those in my bathroom. Lord Fellow.
Looks like he was married.
Scandal.
Lady Fellow.
Do these people not have first names?
Flint
A
Fellow.
purebred fellow, if there ever was one. Married a randomer, though.
Do you think he still lives here? Felix Fellow. Looks like he married his way into the
Do you think he still lives here?
Buck.
What?
Do you think he still lives here? Primrose.
I always liked the
Do
name.
you think she still lives here?
Poppy Pointer.
She's half Remington.
Do you think she still lives here? Finally, we get to
It's not
Don't
that
ruin this. Finally,
It's not
don't
that
ruin this. Finally,
It's not
don't
that
ruin this. Stairs. Let's head to the crime scene first. It's at the top of the West Tower, I think. Let's head to the crime scene. It's at the top of the West Tower, I think.
Let's take a look at that painting first. There it is, the unfinished portrait.
So, what?
Looks that way.
I wonder if all of Freya's paintings are this creepy. Maybe it's just because
There's something wrong with the crime scene. And something really weird about the murder weapon.
we didn't find a murder weapon.
Flora Fellow is holding a knife tipped with blood because it stabbed Freya. Almost. Maybe just... Flora's portrait is holding a knife tipped with blood because it stabbed Freya.
What?
Weird, huh?
You think Freya was stabbed by not by the woman from the painting, but by the...
Freya was standing. There's blood on the knife.
Right, but it's not...
See any other knives around here? Case closed.
The case is not closed. And even if you were right, where does that leave us? A painting can't be a murder suspect.
The outline of Freya Fellow. Looks like she... There's a single patch of blood. No real...
That's weird.
What?
Her feet were right up by the canvas,
So?
so she was probably standing really
Let's
close.
check the case file again. Is that a gramophone?
I think so, except it's got a tape deck instead of a turntable.
It's also got a big crack down the middle.
What about the cassette tape?
Yeah, it sure is. Pink.
Do you think it still works?
The gramophone? Yeah, we could give it a go.
Weird.
It's someone humming a tune. It's piano music. Supposedly, Freya was looks like she was still.
Didn't even get a chance to clean her brush.
Freya's painting supplies. Freya's painting supplies.
Is that an egg? An egg.
It's also what a completely ordinary.
I think it's a container.
Those gems look like they come off. That's the one.
Hey, not bad. Did it unlock?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Well, I'm not leaving. Empty egg is a clue, right? That's the only door.
It's also
Sure is. Guessing.
a bunch of old books covered in dust now, but they look well read.
Flora Fellow?
Hey, sorry to barge in. I'm sure you're still in some distress.
We need to ask you a few questions, I'm afraid.
Did you witness the murder, Flora?
Nothing. What do we do?
Not sure. She's entitled to her silence, I suppose.
For now. Is there anything you'd like to tell us, Flora? I don't really know anything about you at all.
I think that's the way she likes it. We'll just have to ask other people about her.
Yeah, okay.
Freya was painting your portrait yesterday. Is that right?
Was this something you had planned with her ahead of time?
Was there something special about yesterday?
Did you talk to Freya at all while she was painting you?
She's not going to answer us, is she?
Nope. But at least we can say we tried. Flora, you were definitely in the room at the time of the murder. Surely you must have seen something? Can you tell me anything about what happened to Freya? She's acting pretty suspicious if you ask me.
I don't know. Maybe she really doesn't know anything.
How is that possible? Anything we should know? Any hobbies besides staring out the window? Did you ask Freya to paint this? Or was it her idea?
What is that you're holding in the painting, Flora? Some people have been saying it's a knife. Is this your gramophone?
Do you know why it's cracked? Flora, this is your egg? Why do you keep it locked?
Is there supposed to be something in there? Or is it always empty?
Flora, you were definitely in the room at the time of the murder. Can you tell me anything about what happened to Freya? She's acting pretty suspicious if you ask me.
I don't know. Maybe she really doesn't know anything.
How is that possible? It's not locked. Now it's a...
There are weeds in there.
It's an aquarium?
Could be. Anymore.
Curious. I would expect bacteria of that nature to thrive in these conditions.
Excuse me.
Taking all the environmental factors into account, there must be something I am still missing.
May I talk to you, miss?
She knows we're here. She just doesn't care.
I am a detective, and I need to talk...
Correction. You do not need to talk to me.
Oh no? How come?
Because I am not a suspect. I am completely innocent of any and all crimes.
Thanks for letting me know.
Speaking of which, you have now been at Tangle Tower for over 23 minutes. Surely you have already reached a sturdy hypothesis.
A hypothesis? About the murder?
Yeah, come on, Grimoire, hurry up.
My apologies. Unfortunately, protocol dictates I must at least meet all the suspects. And that includes you. So, could you tell me your name?
Fifi Fellow, microbiologist, inventor, innovator. You will need to be more specific. Oneself cannot be summarized in a single response without doing one a great disservice.
So true.
Well, first of all, you're a fellow. So does that make you the daughter of—
Correct. My father and mother are named Flora and Felix, but you need not question either of them. It will only waste valuable time. Neither of them are capable of murder.
Thanks for the tip.
Fifi, you said you were a micro... something or other?
Microbiologist, but it is an insignificant label. My studies cannot be categorized in any one recognized field.
What made you want to become a scientist in the first place?
I harbor an intrinsic fascination with the microscopic. I constructed my first one at age 10.
Constructed a microscope?
Correct.
And what's that thing on your head? Did you make that too?
My eyesight began to deteriorate when I turned 12. Not satisfied with the eyeglasses prescribed to me, I designed this custom lens instead. It automatically adjusts based on the surrounding light conditions.
Does it glow red when you get angry?
No, but that would be most amusing. What can you tell me about the murder?
What can you tell me about— Wait, that's what I'm supposed to ask you.
Yes, however, you were too slow.
You fancy yourself a detective too, Fifi?
I just need to know what happened.
Me too. So talk.
Fine. I knew ahead of time that Freya was going to be busy with her painting all day, so I had planned to spend the afternoon with Poppy. I was in the library all morning preparing the equipment for an experiment, only to find out that Poppy had made other plans and she was in fact planning to ignore me completely.
Oh.
So what did you do instead?
I locked myself in my room and cried.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Why?
I don't know, it just sounds kind of sad.
It is not unusual.
Oh. Good.
I was in my room. The lights were off and the door was locked. Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me. I opened the door. Poppy came into my room. Her makeup was leaking. She told me Freya was dead. I did not believe it. I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face. She insisted that we go up to Flora's tower. We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs. When I saw Freya lying on the floor, I was completely and utterly devastated. Then, I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting. Poppy and I took the sample back downstairs to the library. We performed a test and found out that it was, in fact, blood.
You performed that scientific test immediately, even though you were feeling so upset?
Of course. Why would one affect the other? Name, Flora Fellow. Age, 40. Likes, unknown. Dislikes, unknown.
Isn't she your mother? How do you not know anything?
I believe other people may have discovered methods of reaching her, but I have little capacity for interpreting nonverbal communication.
And how long has Flora been non-verbal?
She has always been quiet, willing to speak when necessary, but not more.
So what happened to make her stop talking entirely?
She suffered a great loss, something she has been unable to move beyond. Name, Freya Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, artist. Deceased. Understand this. Most people find me difficult. They exhibit a noticeable degree of discomfort when talking to me. There it is. Freya, who had a way of being an exception to any given rule, was not at all like this. She is very important, and I will not rest until I understand what has happened to her.
Did you spend a lot of time with Freya recently?
I will say this. In the past year, Freya became 1. Increasingly independent, and 2. Increasingly isolated.
Do you know why?
I do not. If you are looking for a speculative, empathetic opinion, try asking Poppy instead.
The three of you are friends.
We are of a similar age, and all highly gifted. 1 scientist, 1 artist, and 1 musician.
Sounds like quite a team.
Name: Fiona Fellow. Age: 19. Profession: amateur microbiologist. Likes: the meaningful archiving of information. Dislikes: the superfluous window dressing accompanying the majority of human contact. Notes: kindly disregard the polysyllabic form of my given forename and refer to me instead as Fifi.
How come you prefer Fifi?
How come you prefer Grimoire?
How are you related to the other fellows?
Fitz is my cousin. His father, a man named Flint, was my uncle.
Was?
I do not know if Flint is alive or not. He left Tangle Tower a long time ago.
And what about Freya? How are you related to her?
We share exactly 1 grandparent. This belongs to Poppy. In fact, she owns a
What happened to it, though?
It has been left underwater for an extended period of time.
Right. But why?
I do not know why. The statue itself does not interest me, but I do wish to know about those symbols on the harp. Have you deciphered their meaning yet?
We're working on
We are?
Freya is normally highly skilled at capturing someone's likeness, but in this painting, she has accidentally made Flora look quite young.
I think she was just being kind.
Why is that kind? Anyway, I'm far more interested in what Flora is holding. I performed the test on the red paint myself. I discovered that it was in fact not paint, but blood.
What made you want to test it in the first place?
It was Poppy. She told me she thought the painting looked like a bloody knife. I told her not to be ridiculous. My mother owns no such knife. But then I noticed that the color was slightly too dark, and the substance itself was overly viscous.
You noticed that just from looking at it once?
Of course. The gramophone belongs to Poppy, but I believe she gave it to my mother, and my mother often loaned it to Freya. Or maybe it is the other way around.
When did it get cracked?
I cannot pinpoint it exactly. All I know is that it must have happened sometime in the last 2 days.
Is she laughing?
The red paint on the brush is not paint. It is blood. Same for the palette.
So Freya added the blood to the painting herself?
Or blood got on the brush and palette some other way?
I do not know the answer.
Fifi, did you test the red paint in this pot?
Yes, I did. I discovered it too was blood, not paint.
A whole pot full of blood?
Not a whole pot. It is only partially full.
Yeah, but still. Doesn't that freak you out?
No. In fact, it may be considered rather reassuring. That belongs to my mother. I think she must be fond of eggs. There are a number of egg-shaped carvings to be found in the garden and in the Grand Hall.
Yeah, what's the deal with all the eggs?
Some people just like eggs. I require facts. What do you know?
Well, we know Freya was stabbed with a knife, and then she fell—
Correction. She was stabbed with something. There was no knife found at the crime scene,
Apart from the one in the painting.
which as a mere abstract representation does not count. Nobody has ever been stabbed by the concept of a knife. What is your opinion of Tangle Tower?
Oh, it's impressive. Elaborate gardens, unique architecture.
Must be worth a fortune.
Why do you ask, Fifi?
I am the heir of the Fellow family and the Remington family. This makes me the sole beneficiary of Tangle Tower.
That's quite an inheritance.
They can't make you do anything, Fifi. If you don't want the house, just tell them. Or just sell it. Who cares?
You sound like her.
Fifi, Fifi's bedroom should be unlocked now.
Can't wait.
Is that a
Of sorts. Hey, look, it's a model of Tangle Tower. What are you thinking?
That would make an amazing... Sure. Why not build a science
The
lab?
search for the archive is downright poetic.
A chalkboard?
Is this a library or a class?
Any idea what this
Not
means?
a clue.
I'm not sure I learned anything from that. Books about nature?
It's an illustrated
It's
book.
been left open.
Or it was left open for us
Ever so slightly unnerving?
It's musty in here.
What exactly does that mean?
Must. You asked such
Nice. Sure, why not
The
build...
search for the archive's downright poetic. Books about space.
They're relatively untouched. Books about
Well,
insects.
there's not a single book on
Huh.
that. Books about
Skip.
geography.
Books about...
These books are. I think they'd crumble into dust if I
Good
tried
excuse.
to. Thanks.
A book? Fundamental and...
I guess somebody dropped it. It's musty.
What exactly does
Must. You asked such.
Nice. Books about
The
birds.
shelves are about.
Oh, so you're a... The
You knew
shelves...
this already.
Books about... nature?
That painting.
Why would you want it looming over...
Maybe Frey enjoyed the
The
atmosphere.
atmosphere.
Hang on. There's a smaller version down by
It's
the.
a photograph. It's a...
I think it looks more like a
Fine,
whale.
it's
Could also be a shark.
a lot of...
How
these-
can you tell if they're
Good point.
painting supplies? Painting supplies. That painting.
Why would
Maybe
you...
Frey
the
enjoyed.
atmosphere.
Hang on. There's a smaller
It's
version.
a photograph. A pillow with a...
It's a cushion.
Yeah, but that doesn't alliterate. Drawings.
What's that one on?
Looks like two... One of them's holding a red rose. Not the kind of lamp...
It's cool. Looks like old mining equipment. or something.
It's a little glass...
I think it's a vivarium.
again?
See the leaves and twigs. Might have been for keeping insects.
That's weird.
What did you find in the drawer?
Nothing. They're completely empty. Freya's plants. They must not need... It's a little wooden box.
To the casual observer. They're not real paintbrushes. Looks like they're part of some kind of lock mechanism. Nothing.
Did you find a hint? It looks like a ripped up jigsaw.
That was
Each brush has various... The information we need is on the paper.
That's done it.
Neat. What was in the box?
Just a photograph. Well, most of a photograph.
Do you think this was...
I don't know.
No windows either. Drawings.
What's that one on?
Looks like one of them's holding a red rose. A pillow with a...
It's a cushion.
Yeah, but that doesn't alliterate.
Freya's bear.
Looks pretty...
He's had a rough couple of days.
There's no natural light in
I
here.
like it.
Brushes...
They're clean, but they look pretty.
Freya's plants. They must not need... Do you think this was...
I don't know.
No windows either. It's a magnifying glass.
How come you don't have one of those?
Why? Because should I start smoking a
You
pipe?
couldn't pull off a pipe.
Crystal chandeliers.
I don't know. Plus, they're kind of dusty.
That's a whole lot of... It looks like a
Can
microscope.
I touch it? I'm not sure that...
Got it.
I'm impressed. Sounds like it unlocked.
Yeah. There's a book in here.
I don't know what that drink is,
I'd
but
read you, but there's...
that's even worse.
What's that big book?
Looks like something
Is
Fifi.
it a clue?
I hope not. It's just a bunch of notes about her microbiology.
What's that big...
Looks like
Is it a
something.
clue?
I hope not. It's just a bunch of notes about her microbiology.
It's a magnifying.
How come you?
Why? Should I start...
You couldn't pull off. Homemade posters. This one's about the Pythagorean.
I've not heard of that band.
Homemade posters. This one's about the.
I've not heard of that band. A news. Don't think you can get out.
I'm innocent.
Save it for the judge.
Boxes of stuff. Boxes of stuff.
Scientific formula. Probably. I'll openly admit I have no idea. Stuff.
You gonna rummage?
No.
I give it 5 minutes before you're in there.
Stuff.
You gonna rummage?
No.
I give it 5 minutes before you're in.
Fifi's got
What
something.
is all this? Who is that?
No idea. And that's you, Sally.
What? I do not look like.
Is that supposed to be?
That's just the face you make. Does make you wonder, though. Who is that?
No idea. Who's that?
Not sure.
That's gotta be Flora.
Who is that?
No idea.
Who is that?
No idea.
Who is that?
No idea. Is that
That's just the face. Does make you wonder, though.
Did you notice who isn't on?
Freya?
Mm-hmm. And what is
I
that?
think it's a family tree. Flora Remington.
We met her. She's one of the suspects. Fiona Phillips. We met her. She's one of the suspects.
Poppy Pointer.
She's half Remington.
Do you think she still lives here?
Felix Fellow. Looks like he married his
Do you
way.
think he still lives here? Whoa, nice cape.
You're not fellows or pointers. I'm sure I shall immediately regret asking. But who are you, and what is your business here?
I'm Sally, and this is my sidekick Grimoire.
A private detective, Grimoire.
Really? You're a detective. If this is a joke, it's not a good one.
Who are you, anyway?
Private Detective Hawkshaw.
Oh, nice. Hawkshaw's a cooler name than Grimoire. Maybe I'll become her sidekick.
You're not on the Freya Fellow case, too, are you?
That is classified information between myself and my client. Clearly, this is something which eludes you. But a real detective refrains from handing out informations to persons unknown.
Oh, right.
Now, if you would, I have work to do. It's not in my interest to discuss personal...
Even if you're one of the suspects in the...
Very well. Let us make a small exception. Ask.
Oh, what are you doing here?
I'm on a case at the behest of my client.
How long have you been at Tangle Tower?
133 hours. 5.5 days.
Who are you working for?
I am not at liberty to answer that. Now, I shall permit you one more question.
What crime are you...
How'd you get that scar? It's cool.
You really think so? As it happens, I completed an examination of Flora's room on the morning before the murder. I've been investigating every single room at Tangle Tower. Hers was one of the last on my list.
Did you find anything unusual?
Nothing but a thin layer of dust and an atmosphere of somber melancholy.
Was Flora in there at the time?
She spent the duration of my search staring up at the sky, out the open window. Didn't say a word, although I'm told this is the expected behavior.
What did you do after that?
I spent the early evening searching the library. It took longer than it should have. Fiona leaves that room in a permanent state of disarray.
Fiona was in the library too?
I expected her to make an appearance, but she did not.
And you stayed in the library the rest of the day?
Not quite. Towards the early evening, my examination of the library was unexpected. Sounds of running, wailing, shouting from several floors above. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared. He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the Fellow staircase. Our eyes met. He was breathless. Something had caused him great alarm. He told me to stay out of the way. I consented. I decided to return to my office in the stone square. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. She was clutching the banister of the Pointer staircase with an apprehensive manner. She wished to know where Professor Pointer had gone. I told her what had transpired. Then, she too crossed the hall and disappeared up the fellow staircase. More so than at any moment prior, I felt like quite an intruder in the house. I took my leave, out towards the stone square. The grounds were silent. There were no signs of human life. Even the greenhouse was without its typical inhabitant. I noted that he, too, must be entangled in whatever was transpiring in Fellow Tower. An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance. He spoke to me of what had occurred. His report was as clumsy and cumbersome as the man giving it.
Did he seem upset?
He was rattled, that much was clear, but sorrowful, mournful, I cannot say. Quite the stoic statue, isn't she? I can only dream of being as cold and indifferent as Flora Fellow.
You think she's hiding something?
Perhaps. She has some strange habits. I heard she barely sleeps, an hour here or there, sporadically. Spends the rest of her time staring up at the sky. 314 cases solved. 314. Freya Fellow is of great interest to me. I perceived her to be the most intelligent individual here at Tangle Tower. Within a day, she had identified for whom I was working and for what I was searching. I didn't know how she did it. I was impressed. I regret that I did not question her more thoroughly when I had the opportunity.
You couldn't have known she was about to be killed, though.
I have only myself to blame for failing to perceive the signs.
What signs?
I do not wish to do your job for you, Detective. Considerably intelligent, and her powers of observation are enviable. But she has no ambition, no focus.
In her defense, she's still a teenager.
Barely. Tangle Tower. No idea why they insist on calling it that. It's not even a tower. It's little more than a pair of turrets stuck on either side of a mansion.
Have you searched the whole place?
I believe so. Why?
He wants to know if you found any secret rooms.
Huh. I'm afraid the residents of Tangle Tower are far too ordinary for anything like that. I was disappointed, too. You truly consider this a case file?
What's wrong with it?
No organization, no system.
That's my style. I like seeing everything laid out at once. Yeah, it helps me think.
How quaint. Where'd you dig that up?
It wasn't buried. It was underwater.
Someone trying to conceal evidence, perhaps? Have you deciphered the meaning of those 4 symbols on the harp?
We're working on it.
That's a no, then. Makes quite an impression, doesn't it? Although I can't imagine why she painted Flora wielding a knife.
You didn't see a knife anywhere in Flora's room, did you?
I did not. I conclude whatever stabbed Freya must have been brought into the room from outside. Unless, of course, it was the painting itself.
Surely you don't believe in that kind of thing.
A detective's job is to examine every avenue of thinking. A somewhat cumbersome device, and an altogether inefficient way to listen to music.
What kind of music do you like, Hawkshaw?
I like anything.
What a cop-out.
I believe that was in Flora's room yesterday, but it was not cracked when I saw it last. The paint is still wet.
Yeah, well, we know Freya was in the middle of painting when she was killed.
Do you know that? How? Because you were told? Paints?
Yep.
Paints.
Mm-hmm.
You got it open. I'm impressed. I managed it myself yesterday. I thought Flora might be hiding something in there.
It was empty yesterday, too?
It was. Perhaps it's always been empty. A book from the library. One of hundreds, no doubt. What makes this one special?
It's about birds.
Yes, I see that. I admit, it's powerful. Freya was a talented young woman.
Someone even liked it enough to take a photo of it.
Now, we don't know why they took the photograph, do we? Perhaps they just wanted it for reference.
When did Freya draw the picture of you, Hawkshaw?
I didn't model for her, if that's what you're asking. She must have done it without my permission.
Could just be from memory. It's not quite as detailed as the others, anyway.
A photograph of Freya. Could be important. A diary. Have you read it?
Not yet. It's locked.
And you haven't attempted to force it open?
That would be cheating. Is that a...
If it is, it's a...
I'm guessing it doesn't tell.
So what does it do?
No.
So moving any of the hands turns the adjacent like cogs on a machine.
I guess that's wrong.
Did you work out what direction each hand needs to be? Each one ends with a little hoop. Try looking.
Nothing.
It's just numbers on a 3 on the right, 6 on the bottom, 9 on the left, and 12 on the top. You only need 90-degree angles.
Nothing.
It's just numbers on 3 on the right. You only need 90-degree angles.
Got it.
I'm impressed. What's in the box?
A little tool, but I'm not actually sure what it is.
A wooden trunk.
I want one.
There's a metal plaque.
Is there a message?
I think there was, but someone scratched it off.
It's a big stone dial.
Biggest one I've ever seen too.
It's Tangle Tower, or at least it's the mansion.
A pointless
I
little...
don't know.
Want to play hide and
I
seek?
could be persuaded.
It's a sea serpent turned into stone.
What happened?
Beheaded by the same wizard. Looks like it might Grimoire, you go first.
You ever see a
Not in real life. More of that weird...
Really? Are we on
It's me.
a giant?
AKA a greenhouse.
Sir? Can you hear me? I'm Private Detective Grimoire. I have some questions for you.
Grimoire. Good mysterious name. I'd rather like it. Felix Fellow at your beck and call.
And, this is my colleague, Sally.
Yeah, that's a perfectly good name as well.
Thanks.
If you would, Mr. Fellow, we really need to ask you about the murder.
Well, I must say I'm rather jealous of you two.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
Out here solving mysteries, exploring new places, uncovering secrets. That's what life is all about.
Secret rooms?
Generally speaking, you know, that sort of thing.
So, Felix, what exactly do you, do?
Is it not obvious? I'm an explorer. Explorer/treasure hunter. Yes, well, best in the world.
We're talking like curse statues, spike pits.
It's a little more sophisticated than that. But I've certainly seen my share of danger, if that's what you're asking.
And, if I may ask, when did you retire?
You listen here. I may be between ventures right now, but it's simply not in my nature to stay in one place for too long. I go wherever the winds of destiny take me.
Don't you live here with your wife and daughter?
Yes, well, the Fellow family has certain loyalties, and with Flora the way she is...
Nothing wrong with raising a family, Mr. Fellow.
Don't misunderstand me. Fiona and Flora are my entire world. They are the greatest treasure of all.
Uh-huh.
Why on earth would you want to know about that?
The murder of Freya Fellow. The reason we're here?
Ah, right. Nasty business. Very unfortunate. I regret that I can't be of any help, but I wish you all the best in your investigation.
Hear that, Grimoire? We're done here. Let's go.
It's a simple question, Felix. I'm sure you're up to it.
Well, there's not much to tell. Mostly, I was in my room by myself, working on Flora's, working on a project.
Your room is quite close to Flora's tower. You didn't hear anything unusual?
What qualifies as unusual?
What have you got?
It was dusk. A feeling lingered in the air. Malevolent, perhaps. Uncertain, as life itself.
Abridged version, please.
Right, fine. I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room. The footsteps were calm, orderly, so I thought nothing of it. Shortly afterward, I heard a second set of footsteps, going the same way. This time I could tell just from the sound that something was wrong. So I looked out into the hallway. I got a glimpse of Poppy disappearing down the staircase to the floor below. Didn't know what to make of it, to be honest. I thought perhaps she'd had a disagreement with Fitz, as I know those two are close. So I looked into his room, just in case, but it was empty, as was the garden beyond his window. back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her. We went into Flora's room. Poor Freya was laying on the floor. Fiona, Poppy, Fitz, and Pointer were there already. Flora, too, of course. Soon enough, everyone else made their excuses and left.
Including you?
Not I. I stayed. Flora needed me. Dearest Flora, a remarkable woman. Yes, been married over 20 years now.
You two still get on?
Of course. What a question.
She hasn't gone quiet on you.
It's true she has an independent streak. She's had it her whole life. She's the youngest of 3. Always something of a lone wolf, you know? Just the way she is.
Lone wolf is putting it lightly. She doesn't seem to want to talk to anyone.
She just likes time to herself, away from the company of other humans.
Other humans?
Well, yes, other people, you know. You're the one currently
Let's move on.
Quite the character, eh? A fellow member of the Order of the Crimson Cloak.
Is that a real thing?
No, I just meant because we both wear, you know, red capes of a sort.
Has she questioned you yet?
If you call that questioning, she seemed bored by everything I had to say. I heard on the grapevine. Supposedly Hawkshaw is searching for some rare item. Something called the Golden Beetle. Honestly, it's probably a bunch of sensationalist rubbish.
You reckon?
Quite sure. There is no treasure called the Golden Beetle.
How do you know?
Because I would have heard of it. Uncommonly skilled as an artist, but Freya was so much more than her talent. She helped me get started with my own painting, you know. It taught me what she knew about wood carving, too. Tremendous patience. She was ever so good with dear Flora.
Freya and Flora were close?
Oh, yes, especially recently.
How are you related to Freya?
Somewhat distantly, as it happens. My father, Lord Fellow, was her grandfather. Technically, that makes her a fellow. Let's just say there was some discussion over whether she ought to carry the name at all. There's a family tree in the Grand Hall. You should take a look at it.
What about her inheritance?
Freya's parents died when she was around 3 years old. She came to live here shortly afterwards.
Nobody left her a thing?
I'm afraid not. She had no formal claim over anything at Tangle Tower. My daughter Fiona, our little burgeoning genius. You've met her?
We did. She's going by Fifi these days.
So I've heard. I asked her some weeks ago, what's wrong with your real name? She told me, get this, she wanted a name with an even number of syllables. She makes up the strangest things when she's under pressure.
What makes you think she made that up?
I happen to know the real reason she prefers Fifi over Fiona.
Oh, yeah?
It's what Freya called her. Charming, isn't it? Yes. Built by dear Flora's father and his associates.
But now it's owned by you? By the Fellow family?
The Fellows and the Pointers have both come to claim a certain degree of ownership.
And who named it Tangle Tower?
Flora chose the name.
What does it mean?
I think it was her intention that it mean nothing at all. Something of a fresh start.
From what?
This really isn't for me to say, but she had some kind of disagreement with her siblings. After they moved away, Flora changed the name of the house. I think perhaps she hoped it would make them feel unwelcome. Yes, less likely to come back.
That's kind of extreme.
Yes, it is rather, isn't it?